Right now, we want to get more on the latest on the chaos at the Capitol and the concerns over armed protests ahead of Inauguration Day next week. Joining us this afternoon is Steve Ginsburg, the director of the Anti-Defamation League's Connecticut region. Steve, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks a lot, Mark.
What are your thoughts on recent, more talk growing lately about rallies after what happened last week at the Capitol?
Yeah, well, we're obviously very concerned. What happened, to be clear, on the 6th of January was probably the most predictable terrorist event in the modern history of the United States. And when something like that happens, I think we need to understand we're not at the beginning of something, and we're certainly not at the end, but we're at an inflection point. And what our researchers and our extremism experts are seeing in social media and elsewhere is that what happened there is inspiring other people to take further action.
It's interesting because as we look at these pictures right here, obviously this turned violent. We have 5 people who are dead, including a Capitol police officer. Is there reason to believe, and this may seem silly, but that if this happens again, it would not be peaceful again?
So I think that we certainly have to prepare that way. We have been researching, monitoring the extremist groups on all the various social media sites that they exchange information on, and working very closely with our partners in law enforcement. And I will say that we have to prepare for something like that to happen again. I think that smart planning can prevent some of the horrifying things we saw last week. And I know that our partners here in Connecticut, I spoke with our FBI contacts, I spoke with Ryan Foley, who works in Commissioner Ravella's office at the state police. They are certainly preparing for anything that could happen. And their goal really is to ensure what our Constitution wants to ensure. People should be able to peacefully protest. But if they come with another intent, or to incite violence, especially in a place where they could hurt a lot of people, elected officials, they need to be ready. And they're also looking at what happened last week and saying, how do we avoid some of the mistakes made by the Capitol Police in Washington? And that includes preparing for what could happen between now and Inauguration Day, and also making sure that they immediately pursue anyone who does try to incite violence or commit a crime.
What would your advice be, lastly, Steve, for anyone who was maybe considering going to the inauguration or isn't paying attention to what's happening out there right now? I'm imagining people need to stay away and just avoid all of this for right now, right?
Well, I think at this time, given the heightened security environment, given the tensions after last week's events, given what we're seeing with respect to possible violence at rallies again, and frankly, COVID, I think wise decision making might be you probably need a reason to be there. That is pretty important if you're going to take that step.
Okay, Steve Ginsburg from the Anti-Defamation League, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. We appreciate it very much.
Thanks a lot, Mark.